I'm Ashton Addison from the Crypto Coin Show, and today on Blockchain Interviews, we have Shashank Sripada, co-founder and COO of Gaia, here to talk about AI and blockchain, AI agents, decentralized AI, and all the functionality that AI agents are bringing into blockchain and just to the world in general. Shashank, thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ashton.
You're very welcome. There's been so much functionality increase that I've seen versus the talk over the last year or even 2 years of AI agents emerging and actually driving functions that can save us time and automate a lot of things on the internet. And I know your team is at the forefront of innovating in AI agents. I'd love to hear, to start off, a little bit about what you and the team have built at Gaia, how it relates to AI and AI agents, and then we can dive into all those topics.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having us. Yeah, Gaia is, I think, creating the conversation and pushing the conversation on agents, what they can do, and why decentralization is the only way forward for AI. So I can explain Gaia a bit. So Gaia is a open source DevOps framework. Originally, it's about 3 lines of code, helps you set up your own agent nodes. We make it super simple, cheap, and easy to set up agents, where you can think of us as the Stripe for setting up AI agent nodes. Um, so an agent is essentially, or a node agent in our case, is essentially the box that houses the open source LLM, the vector DB, and and any hardware set up underneath it. The secret sauce there is the Wasm Edge runtime, which our chief scientist, Michael Yuan, created. We do maintain that alongside the Linux Foundation. And essentially, you can plug in any open source LLM. It acts as a virtual machine, and it fine-tunes any hardware you're running underneath it. So you can run it off an AKUI CPU all the way up to NVIDIA or AWS or BitTensor or anything in between. So we make it super cheap and easy to fine-tune learning models to any hardware. On the other side of the spectrum, I think the market we're trying to go after is proprietary data sets of humanity. What that means is, OpenAI kicked off the generative learning race. We're grateful for them, but we think that it's mostly scraped training data. It's kind of non-specific data. It's not proprietary data sets. So we think that most of humanity's knowledge is under these proprietary data sets that enterprises, governments, individuals, institutions hold. And by and large, those entities have not kind of hopped into generative learning models. We think that's because in order to open them up, you need open source and you need Web3 because the data is way too valuable otherwise. These entities do not want another monopolist like OpenAI or Google or anyone else sitting between them and their most precious asset, which is their data. So we're obviously open source, but on the Web3 side, we are an inference network. We allow for the inferencing of agents on chain. We allow for the attribution, validation, monetization of inference on chain. That's our essentially our niche in the AI tech stack. And we do that through a domain node architecture. Essentially, for example, University of Berkeley, where some of our research was conducted, has its own domain, berkeley.gaianet.ai, and it acts as a super node, a TCP/IP router to route any traffic or requests to Berkeley to the right mix of nodes that are underneath it. So every professor at Berkeley is operating its own AI agent node. So if you have a chemistry question, your request gets routed to the chemistry professor's agent, and any additional compute is bolstered, both internal and external to that domain. So in that way, we make it very efficient to match ML compute with ML models. And people can also stake their tokens at both the domain and node level to earn staking rewards for maintaining and validating. And there's also a slashing mechanism we're developing, essentially using EigenLayer for both those mechanisms. Eigen is actually a major partner of us. We've been building on them for a little while. Yeah, I think overall the architecture of Gaia uh, makes it easy for anyone to create an agent and then share and monetize that agent on a Web3 landscape.
Wow. It's a lot to cover, Shashank, and I love the little bit of insights into the enterprises and these huge companies that have so much valuable data, but of course they don't want that data to be in OpenAI for competitors and everyone else to look at. And how do we set that up for them to utilize their data more efficiently and can have a competitive advantage without giving it to everybody. So I think that's where the decentralization or the permissioned part comes in. I'm curious from a regular user perspective. Let's say there's hundreds of millions now, I think, of people that are using centralized AI, OpenAI, and they don't really understand the benefits of the decentralized AI or even AI agents. So what would you say to those regular users that they realize now they're relying on centralized AI every day to work in their business or to do their job? What's the advantage of the decentralized AI part and the AI agents over just using a regular LLM?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, like all I described really is meant for developers. Our primary customers out of the gate have been developers. That's why we I was a little technical, but let's winding it back here. The agents, the term agent is kind of, we think, is the manifestation of all the promises of AI that you've heard about. Um, if you look at OpenAI, it's a great tool. I use it myself, honestly, ChatGPT. However, I think it's kind of the convenience tool. It's a tool to help you cheat on your homework and speed up your own personal processes, maybe. However, we think that that is just the first step of AI.
Mm-hmm.
Agents are kind of the manifestation of automating different business processes. It's how you create a business, it's how you interact with your followers, interact with your customers. Um, I compare ChatGPT and OpenAI to kind of Yahoo.com in 1999. It's a large learning model that kind of does everything everywhere all at once for everyone. However, the rest of the internet needs to develop,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, we see agents as the next step of like websites and then apps. And then we think the next step, evolution of that is agents. Agents are going to be what go get your news for you. They're going to be what trade on your behalf, trade your stocks and bonds with crypto. Um, and they're going to be how you interact with your followers in an automated way on social media. So I think agents are kind of the next major revolution.
Mm-hmm.
Large learning models were invested in heavily for the last few years by Silicon Valley. However, kind of DeepSeek, I would say, exposed that, um, and as not necessarily the be all end all. Someone in China could train their model that performs better than yours for $60 million. That exposed the zero sum game approach to large language models. We think agents are kind of something that you build a business around. So
Mm.
for the everyday layman, I think I would say look into agents because you can actually build small, medium enterprises that displace a lot of the monopolies you see around us today.
Yeah, no, I love that. Thank you for that comparison. And with all these enterprises that are looking to get their proprietary data into AI, how easy is that? Obviously with the help of Gaia, getting that set up. I think a lot of them are trying to figure out the best way. And how much handholding do you guys do, and how quickly can you get all of that information into the AI agents so that they've learned it fully and you can start utilizing that data?
Yeah, the fact is that it's super simple. That's our whole point. Our framework is a very lightweight model. It depends how much data you have and how much of a team you have to support it. But I would say you can input incredible amounts of data. Like I'm talking about books and books and reports and all kinds of pages and pages qualitative data within minutes, right? So it just depends. If you're trying to upload an entire enterprise's data set, then that's probably going to take a few days, I would say,
Yeah.
but still not that bad. It just depends on your, the hardware and the human capital that you have access to for if you're an enterprise. But really, I think like we've done pilot agents for like Qualcomm, NASA,
Mm.
Fitch Ratings, LA Fashion Week. We've got like over 180, three pilots for the likes of Mersari, Jiritsu, Eigenlayer, Base, and others. So yeah, there's a lot of different case studies in there of how long it took, how what kind of agent was developed, and kind of how we executed.
Yeah, no, I love that comparison that you made of like OpenAI as like Yahoo. I feel like people see, they
Yeah.
it's crazy how much functionality you can have in that first version of these LLMs, compared to maybe my generation wasn't around to see like that jump from like no internet to the first
Mm.
search engine. But this, it just seems incredible. And to think that that is actually the Yahoo, and we're going to be going so much farther. The functionality increase is going to be insane. And
Yeah.
would you make the comparison to say that like every business, as they say now, obviously for decades now, that every business needs to have a website, like every business needs to have an AI agent as well?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's the only way forward. I think every business is going to be wanting to explore agents. It's something that is, like I said, a new way to interact with your customers, your followers, and maybe improve if you're a digital business, maybe completely reinterpret, improve what you're serving.
Mm-hmm.
So, like for example, the I encourage everyone to go build an agent, look into what you can build, and I have a whole list of ideas that I've been suggesting crowds across the world on what to do. But essentially, um, for example, an agent I love, idea I love is I would love an agent where it's essentially you tell it to go read all the finance textbooks in the world. You tell it to go follow Warren Buffett on Twitter, you follow crypto Twitter, and then that agent could create sub agents that they specifically follow equities, bonds, crypto, commodities, and then you tell it to go trade, figure out a
Mm.
medium conservative trading portfolio, and go trade. That can be done right now, and the great thing is you can even scale it so that everyone who knows you and knows that you're maybe the best agent trainer can follow you and pay you to trade their own portfolios. That is a great multi-million dollar small business that displaces some of the functions of the larger asset managers like a Charles Schwab
Mm-hmm.
that kind of don't really they have very random basic robo traders. That's a great personalized business. That's what I'm trying to get at. I think every large business certainly should be looking at agents to keep up. But I think what's more exciting is the ability for the smaller, medium-sized businesses to dislodge them and perform just as well. And that's really possible. Something like that example is possible right now. What's missing is the rails, the infrastructure around agents. We think there's going to be more agents than humans in the next 2 to 3 years.
Wow.
We've been building the infrastructure to service that. It's the greatest population of unbanked on the planet. So it'll be, we need KYC, we need AML, banking, wallets, legal to serve all these agents that are going to already coming about. So it's really exciting. And then, to see how the way those agents interact with each other on our behalf is also pretty exciting.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating. And you gave the example there of sort of taking over the account manager for Charles Schwab. And you mentioned, the legal, but I feel like AI agents can at least do 99% of the grinding in the legal industry as well. It feels like so many different jobs are at risk, so to say, of AI agents at least taking over the job or making it almost obsolete.
Yeah.
Do you think that people need to become developers to not make their job become obsolete, or just learn how to manage AI agents? Where's the balance in making sure that you still have a job when AI agents are, a bigger population than humans?
Yeah. So once again, I think there's two things in there, I would say. One is, are people going to lose jobs? And two is, do they all need to be developers? The second question is even quicker to answer. It's no, they don't need to be developers. That's the exciting part about this. I was just speaking to the Google folk. I don't know if you saw, just last week they launched their kind of no code coding AI. Uh, you could honestly make a whole website or an agent or anything without being a full developer. Obviously, if you are a developer, it definitely helps and speeds things up. But I think the rise of AI, large learning models, and agents combined is making that skill less and less opaque for the everyday man or woman. The other side of that is, I think it's an interesting conversation that comes up every time you bring up, AI displacing humans, and taking over and rendering everyone jobless. I actually think the opposite. I think that conversation started because OpenAI didn't act as an open organization like it was meant to be. It trained for about 10 years or more, and one day opened the floodgates and said, all right, great, we know all of humanity's knowledge. We're good to go. Pay us. Pay us, we'll do everything for you. And by the way, we can do everything. Way overblown, it's a way over uh, formulated kind of explanation of what they can do and cannot do, for that matter. Large language model from OpenAI, we were just in Korea, it's our second largest market. It cannot service the Korean market very well. OpenAI's model is, like I said, the yahoo.com. It's does not interact well with the Korean language. They have their own local ones that they're developing. It does not interact well with not industry specific knowledge. So if you're trying to figure out an actual chemistry question from the industry, you're not going to get these basic level answers. That's not good enough for you. So I want to put to bed kind of the assumption that OpenAI and ChatGPT are just going to take over the world because they themselves are not don't even have enough proprietary knowledge to do so, and B, their capabilities are not scalable and are executable for a small medium business. So let's get back to like what you asked, like what can people do? Like I said with the finance agent example, um, this is an excellent opportunity for small and medium business to arise and decentralize those larger kind of monopolists and behemoths. Like I said, the finance example is one. It's an ability for an everyday agent creator to go set up something that dislodges potentially like a Charles Schwab or a JP Morgan. On the other hand, you can also create a business that using agents in a unique way that kind of dislodge whether it's fashion retail or social media or anything else that services your regional and local community, and potentially international, and it just depends on your followers. We're kind of the YouTube for creating agents. And as the YouTube, there's a whole host of there's Mr. Beast at the mega creator level, but then there's also kind of the small medium creators who are earning great income. It's dislodged the studio system of Hollywood, which is like 5 or 10 studios, to millions of creators, right? So we see this as the great dislodger of that. It's decentralizing it and spreading the wealth around to more people. So I would encourage people to go just figure out how to create agents. There's plenty of auto create ones. We ourselves are in a joint venture creating a not kind of a Squarespace Shopify for agents that allows non-creators to create them. So there's going to be a lot that pop up like that, and there've already been a lot that have popped up under Google and others. So I think it's actually great for humanity.
No, I love that. And I love that the decentralization lowers the barriers to entry, allows anybody to do it, whether they're in an emerging country or they're in a first world country.
Yeah.
And I'd love to learn more about the decentralization or the blockchain part of it. You mentioned
Yeah.
there's nodes and it can get into tokenization models and stuff. How does the blockchain, secure the information or keep it private, or what are the other benefits in having it on a decentralized network?
Yeah, sure. Like I mentioned earlier, we are an inference network first and foremost. Um, that allow your data is stored on however you like it. You could keep it on your local on-prem on your devices, on your hardware. You can keep it on AWS, wherever you like. You get to choose how it's secured, your data, and how you share it. Um, the the inference network purely allows you to share the inferencing of your data on chain. Like that's attribution, validation, and monetization, as we call it.
Hmm.
So
That's great. And then there's the ability to have token gated models or revenue models with actual cryptocurrencies as well.
yeah, like I said, we are multi-chain. We're kind of a consensus layer that sits on top. We are Ethereum first, but we will support other chains. Essentially, the DAO governance is done on our token, as well as kind of the coordination of inference. So you can stake any tokens, any type of crypto onto our AVSs using Eigen. But we are, going to allow for settling of inference payments, and then selling of on doing the on-chain transactions of inferencing on-chain.
Hmm. No, I like that. And I saw that the Gaia recently reached 400,000 nodes on the network, which is an incredible number.
Yeah.
Do you have to, if you're setting up the AI agent, do you have to run a node, or can anybody that's using the agents run a node, or what are the benefits of having a node?
Yeah, we have. It's an interesting terminology for us. There's a few different types of nodes in our system. There's a pure a data node, like an agent node, that is kind of like the professors at Berkeley, who are have uploaded their IP. So anyone can upload their knowledge and the agent, the way it interacts in onto their own agent node. Every agent is a node on our
Hmm.
platform. So that is that it can be shared and monetized on our system, like I mentioned. There's kind of validator nodes, people who stake and validate and maintain the network. There's compute nodes. There's a bunch of DePIN providers like Filecoin, IMNet, DeepInX, others who have massive capex and are running a lot of compute. We're helping them match with customers for their compute from developers, these kind of knowledge agents. So that's another kind of user base, and then the last kind of uh, type of node is a developer nodes. These guys are people who build dApps on the network, and they point to the knowledge and compute nodes in order to power their apps.
Hmm.
So there's a few user profiles, but the term node is a little kind of uh, overused maybe, but it has a few different meanings on our network.
Definitely. No, well, it's great to see the traction, and I feel like over the next year, it's probably going to explode into the millions of nodes, and hopefully, the more decentralization, the better as well.
Yeah, I think it's been a wild ride because we're just about at the year mark of officially launching. So it's we had about 300,000 nodes at early April, and now we had 400,000 even quicker. So it's getting quicker.
Uh-huh.
I
Exponential growth, just like the
Yeah,
the knowledge gain from AI, and the trajectory of the functionality of these AI agents. It's going to pick up.
yep.
I don't know if humans will be able to keep up with, and it's already hard to keep up with the crypto news. Never mind
There'll,
AI. So
there'll be more agents than humans very quickly.
yeah, definitely. And you mentioned in the beginning with the guys at Berkeley and the researchers, they have their own domain. I saw that there's like domain names that you can get as well. How does that work? And what's the benefit of having a domain so that you can direct people to the agent on its own domain?
Yeah, I mean, it's good to own your own domain. It's just like a website. We're actually partnered with ENS on that. But yeah, our domains, like I said, it can represent just one agent, just the one that you built, or we can get you an Ashton agent, right? And that can be accessed via, Ashton.Gaianet.ai. There's also enterprises like Berkeley, you mentioned, institutions that have multiple nodes underneath it. So for them, it acts as like the gateway to all the agents and nodes that they're hosting. So you know what? It's just like we're at the beginning of the internet, and you want to own your domain before the
Yeah,
internet gets hot, right?
de-
So
definitely.
and some of them, it's the our GDN service, the domain service has exploded in popularity. We've done a couple of $100,000 of revenue there, but already, but I think it's a mix of between speculators and
Hmm.
actual true business owners and others and enterprises. So it's exciting.
Yeah, that is exciting. And what lies ahead for you and the team at Gaia in building this out, and as AI functionality just exponentially grows, as we're saying, for the rest of 2025, is there anything public that you're planning to release on the roadmap, or how do you continue to grow?
Yeah, I think we have a lot of awesome JVs partner lined up. We've integrated with a lot of the wallet providers, so that's going to lead to true proliferation of being able to use your agents in any way. Like for example, uh, Consensus is on our cap table. MetaMask, we're trying to launch a MetaMask agent marketplace with them.
Mm, nice.
Um, Transportable across all kinds of wallets. So we've already integrated with Binance Wallet, OKX Wallet, Base, Coinbase. Where we have a lot of partnership with Base. Our AVS is on there. We're doing a partnership with MoonPay on multiple things, but mostly account abstraction. We want to create off-ramp, on-ramp for agents. So there's a lot of cool kind of infrastructure that's going to be deployed that already fits within their everyday tools that they use. But then there's some of the JVs like that Squarespace for agents that I mentioned that we're doing with a very large enterprise. That is going to allow it really blow open the door of floodgates for any non-dev to create it. We have a potential hackathon with Google and a few others coming up. But yeah, look for we're going to launch our network at some point this year. It's going to lead to us being able to actually execute on some of the transactions that I mentioned. And yeah, we got a big year ahead of us, regardless of where crypto markets sit or don't sit. Um,
Hmm.
we're not focused on the volatility of the markets
Yeah.
because we've been building, and we truly believe AI and agents are the next big adoption mechanism of Web3 in general. I think to date, the majority of adoption still remains, financial services and
Hmm.
wealth asset management. But we think that, like I mentioned earlier in my kind of narrative, we strongly believe that we're up against a vertical cliff in AI, where the only way to surmount it is to adopt Web3. So we think that even Silicon Valley will start to kind of come back to Web3 rails. And so we see ourselves as kind of the cloud infrastructure provider in the 90s for all the websites that came after it, websites and apps that came after it. So it's exciting times for both Web3 and us.
Yeah, no, that's very exciting, and I'm looking forward to that launch. And I'm going to check out the AI agents, see what I can create myself, and also the domain names. Try to secure some good ones in my own. What's the best way to get started on both of those things?
Yeah, go find us. If you're a developer, you can, we're open source. Go, clone down our stack, play around, break it, fix it. give us feedback. That's the great thing here. Unlike a lot of projects in the space, we're pretty open book. We're a Red Hat Linux model, so you can go play around, and if you don't like it, give us feedback. And there's over 400,000 nodes there, so you can rest assured we've received quite a bit of feedback already. Luckily, mostly positive. And yeah, I mean, if you're not a non-dev, like still check with our updates, follow our Telegram, join our Discord, follow our socials for updates. We'll definitely be interacting with the community in a lot of different ways in the coming months.
Sounds great, Shashank. I really appreciate the insights into AI agents and the fact that it needs to be on Web3 for
Yeah,
this next stage of adoption. That's exciting to all the crypto junkies as well. So I love what the team's working on. Wishing you and everyone at Gaia all the best moving forward. I'm going to leave those social links and the dev links in the show notes below as well. And would love to follow up again in the near future.
awesome. Thanks so much, Ashton.